What's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Will, aka Iron Will, back for another video. This time we're talking about the cross, the other straight punch, right? If you saw my jab video, hope you got value from that. Check it out. This video builds on that. Again, breaking down the technique, situational uses, and then a few do's and don'ts just to make sure we have our technique sound, right? Let's do it. So, we're in our stance, again, hands high, chin tucked, elbows in, legs bent a little bit, okay? Now again, I had you focus on my rear foot for the jab, and we're gonna do the same for the cross, okay? So take a look at my feet. We're building off of the rear foot again, and we're using our rear foot to propel our body weight forward again, but a couple of things here. We're also rotating, right? Since this punch is coming from the rear side, we're rotating our foot toward our opponent. You see, when I do that, my hips now square up, right? Rotating, my shoulders square up, my entire center mass squares up, okay? We need to be able to effectively pivot, if you want to call it, pivot or rotate. We need to be able to effectively pivot on this rear foot, point to our opponent, or as close to our opponent as we can get, to make sure that we engage our hips and our core, okay? So that's the first piece of this. Second piece, again, just like the jab, is the elbow, okay? We don't want our elbow flaring out. We're not throwing it across like this. We're not throwing it like that. Taxing the shoulder, way more tiring, not as effective, telegraphed, all of the above, okay? Elbow points down for the trajectory of the punch until we make contact. If we turn it over, that is the instance in which the elbow flares out. Or we try to wait until we turn that over into maybe the last fourth of this punch, okay? Okay. Now, as you can obviously tell, there is rotation with this punch, and a couple of things you want to keep in mind, okay? At the very least, right, you're going to be rotating to a point in which your hips are square, right? Whether or not you know, folks feel like, you know, you should never square your hips or whatever that, you know, whatever people say, this is not an effective cross. Okay, your mass isn't with you. Your momentum of your rotation isn't with you here, right? As much as you want to try to prevent yourself from fully squaring up, that's not going to do it. Okay, you need to square up. You need to rotate for this punch. Let me not confuse the terminology. You need to rotate effectively for this punch. Don't see it as squaring up because we're not here. Okay, we're rotating with respect to how we're going to get the punch there effectively, right? Now, a couple things you can think. My rear shoulder is a bit further back than my lead shoulder. Of course, I'm in orthodox. Think about replacing the position, okay? If I'm here, now my rear shoulder is more forward and my lead shoulder is back, okay? Now we're back here. So that's a couple of things that you want to think about as you're making this punch. And again, when we put everything together, it's going to look something like this. All right, watch the feet a little bit. Okay, back to the hands. See, I'm always keeping that opposite hand up. All right, we're always making sure that we're protecting ourselves on the opposite side. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the cross from a long range, sort of an advancing cross, as you will, sort of like how we did the advancing jab. What I recommended from the mid-range jab was to set it up because we're kind of in a live, we're still sort of in a live distance. Here, you're not really in that type of a live distance and can actually be pretty surprising for your opponent to throw a bursting cross from this distance, okay? So the main thing that we want to focus on again is the rear foot. You're propelling off and you're advancing, but this time you're advancing and you're pivoting your rear foot to point toward your opponent, right? So that we can get both of those things in order, right? Here we go. Just like that. And when you do that, along with the upper body technique that we talked about earlier today, you get a punch that looks like this. Okay? Bursting off of the rear foot and propelling yourself forward. I like this punch a lot. Makes me feel like Brian Fury from Tekken, one of my favorite characters. The main thing here is just to not show too many big tails. You might have to step a little bit, right, just to give yourself sort of some preparation, or you might have to like load your legs if you're not that strong, just that with like your calves, okay? But you don't want to like over exaggerate, right? You don't want to do anything like that. So it kind of defeats the purpose, right? But if you're chasing your opponent down, right, it's a great punch that kind of surprises them a little bit, okay? So the last thing here with respect to the cross, again, is always the pump, right? We don't want to pump, right? Straight punch is very easy to do something like this and then throw it, right? You're not going to really see that with a hook or an uppercut. You're not going to see that with straight punches, jab, cross. There's a little pump in front. And again, that's telegraph. You don't want to telegraph the shots. Throw them as clean and as crisp and with the least amount of telegraph as possible so that you can catch them off guard. All right, really quick. Actually, now that I think about it, the body shot with the cross, same concept. You're just bending your legs, okay? You're not bending at the hips and just pointing down. You're bending your legs, following your same technique. Remember, always keep your opposite hand up. If you're stepping into it, same concept. If you're bursting into it, same concept, okay? Iron Will Athletics at LA. More tips, tricks, hints, fun stuff. My name is Will, aka Iron Will. Hope you liked the video. Found value in that. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys later. Stay cool. Thank y'all.